Grandma Sawyer right now.
Okay, here we go. All right, so for alight. Now it's a verb and it's also an adjective. And this is at the top, your very first one on page 14, okay? Now, for alight, as far as a verb goes, it means to get down from anything, to step down from something. So you can alight, some of y'all during carpool, I see those big old trucks with those big old wheels. Okay, respect. That's what my husband drives. I get it. But you almost need a stepladder to alight from the truck, okay? Now, I also, however, am related to a master falconer who has falcons and hawks and eagles and owls. So for us, we're used to using alight when you're talking about birds landing, okay? So you could have a bird alight on that tree. Or when you're wearing your gear, for the falcon particularly, or the hawk, to come, you're wearing a big giant leather glove for them to come and alight on your arm. Don't be like my cousin where it accidentally alighted on her head. And then it got scared, and then it panicked, and the talons just kept going in. So for us, oh yeah, I mean this was such a long time ago. We certainly learned not to panic the birds, that when we panic, the birds panic more. Now, another very old-fashioned term, because I think we truly say other things for this anymore, is the adjective to describe something as being alighted. Yeah, because we really like to say that something was lit up, particularly down south. But just know that when fireworks are in the sky or the glow of a Christmas tree, you would say that the sky was alighted with fireworks. Yeah, the Christmas tree alighted the room, okay? Now, dynasty. With this one, this is such a great word, particularly for y'all with your early civilizations book with Miss Herman. You're definitely going to be talking about ancient Chinese dynasties. Okay, so what you want here is not just one ruler, not just one emperor from a family. We want a whole bunch of them. Okay, the Han Dynasty is going to be one from your history book with Mrs. Herman that you will study. There are more. But what a dynasty is a powerful family or group of rulers that maintains its position and power from some time. So you want those rulers from the same family over time, okay? And you'll definitely get a whole bunch of that information when you start studying ancient China with Mrs. Herman, okay? Now, germinate. I really don't want you to think that we're just talking about seeds and crops. Or do you remember when you were here and you were little, or you may have done this at your other schools? Remember getting a Ziploc bag? Remember getting one seed, then some wet paper towels, putting them in the window. You remember that?
Oh my God.
Remember? Was I bringing back your youth right now?
Mom was in a cup.
Now, can you just talk about germinate with seeds, with flowers, with plants? Yes, you can. I don't want you to forget, though, that ideas, just like little seeds in your mind, ideas can germinate inside of your head. You may have possibly been sitting here today thinking of better things that you could be doing.
Yeah.
You were germinating those ideas. Okay? Like Jack and the Beanstalk, what else could I be doing right now? Yes, sir.
You're good at this.
Whatever. I need more caffeine. Hold on. Coffee break. Humdrum.
I don't have any coffee. Or melon.
Do you know, unfortunately, the best synonym that is not up here? Boring. That's what humdrum means. Anything that's ordinary. Anything that's dull. Okay? Routine. School. Life. Without variation. It doesn't change. But they don't give you boring. And boring is just like the obvious synonym for humdrum. But can I just say, I'm okay with that? Because the actual word boring is boring.
Exactly.
There's something, and this is so oxymoronic to say, but there's something exciting, or at least more exciting, about the word humdrum than boring. So, here's the deal, and you know we're all interrogated when we get, oh my gosh, I just vocabbed you. Number 6. You know we're all interrogated. I'm jumping down to 6, which means ask questions, okay? Examine by questioning. You know that you guys are all interrogated by questions on the ride home from whoever picks you up and calls them. Crazy. So, start vocabbing them. Because first thing, so how was your day?
Exactly.
Oh, it was humdrum.
Did you make any new
What'd you
friends?
learn today? Did you make any new friends? How was your lunch? Did you eat your lunch? As a mother, who'd you play with? Molly said, who'd you play with? And then depending on which of my children I'm asking the interrogative questions to, did you get in trouble? What'd you do?
My mom's favorite question is, what did you work on today? Oh, gosh.
So what'd you work on today? Oh, just some humdrum stuff.
Wait, what does humdrum mean?
Boring.
Just
Dull. Routine.
some
Or in the South, honey, same-o, same-o. Okay? There's your synonym.
And then they're talking about small.
Yes, sir. Huh? No, I can't. All right, insinuate is something that I'm sure you do when you want something. Okay? Many of us should know by now. Only a few of my children have really learned the art of this. But when they want something that costs more than $100, they start insinuating that they want it. They don't just come right out. Okay? They start hinting. Give me hints. They start suggesting, hey, you know what would be really great for high school? It would be really great if I had a new computer, because you know high school is online. I really couldn't hear my Japanese, I told you, remember? Couldn't really hear my Japanese recording on that new computer, on that old computer. I didn't mean to suggest new computer, Mom. So, you know, Mom, and then later on, of course, you have to wait. Then later on, you insinuate more. You know, Mom, I heard that there's this computer called Predator, and it might say gaming computer, Mom, but you know me. But I did hear that the graphics were better, and therefore I would be able to hear my Japanese class a little bit better. So I just want to put it out there, and that's what we call it. When you insinuate something, you're hinting, you're suggesting, you're not outright asking for it. You're just putting it out there. I'm just putting it out there that if you ever get me a car, I really want to try.
You know, I could drive. Or a Lambo.
I'm just putting it out there that I might make a great grade in Japanese if I have this gaming computer. Okay? Make sense?
Yeah, I can make that game happen.
You got to know how to work the system, yo.
Did the computer actually do that computer story actually?
Wait, this totally happened last year, and he totally got the Predator. I mean, we're gullible. That's the thing about us as parents. We're like, well, it would make Japanese easier. Let's go ahead and order it for him. We are gullible, and we do realize that our children outnumber us. And therefore, if there ever should be a hostile takeover, we're probably going to lose.
If you do not give me this computer, I will beat.
See, that's not insinuating, though. That's like more in your face threatening. There's some terror involved.
Computer, I will tell their darkest secret.
Now, interrogate, we were going over, and that's your mama in the car on the ride home. So what'd you do today? Who'd you play with? Did you eat your lunch? How was your day?
No,
The 1,000 questions.
The worst secret you can give is singing Taylor Swift in the shower. My mom doesn't have
Whoa, that just got personal. Yes.
That's not me. I'm saying like somebody else. My mom is also like eating my food.
Yeah.
Don't say me. She's like, did you eat your banana? I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I threw it away.
Real specific.
Did you eat the healthy
Hey.
thing at lunch?
I've got, okay, thank you. Hold up. I've got a French word up here for you for number 7 without the 2 accent marks. It does look like the English word resume. You pause it and then you resume it. Thank you. But it has 2 accent marks on it. So this is, like you were saying, yes, resume, which is basically a brief history of you that you would use when you want to get that job. So we want your education. We want to know where you've been working. We want to know what talents you might have. Why do you want this job? It's that brief history of you. Okay? Trust me, every teacher that applied for a position here first brought in his or her resume to Mrs. Jordan. And she read them. And then if she liked that resume, she kept calling them back in. Because for you new students, you don't realize there are a lot of new teachers here. Right?
There are?
Yeah. We're not used, I mean, we've got a good 6, and I'm including down there with the aides, with the babies, at least 6. But Miss Jordan always looks at the resume first. If there, she's a grammar and spelling teacher. If there's something wrong with that resume,
She will find it.
she'll find it, and then she'll toss it to the side. So you may always want to make sure that your resume is proofread later on in life. Yes, ma'am.
Can I get a question?
Absolutely, sir.
Can't you like almost go? You can get like go to jail for lying on your resume, or you can get in a lot of trouble.
You can get fired.
Well, if you don't have the job yet, then
You can get fired. Yes, ma'am.
Do you write out your own resume when you print it out, or like does it come from?
You would want to. There are resources online. There's a proper way, an outline to follow for your resume. We can try one. Yeah. But there's an outline that you would follow, and you would want to type it up. It should look a certain way. Then there's also a Latin term for a resume, which this is just a side note because you're super smart and asking good questions. And it's called a curriculum vitae, a CV. Yeah. So we called it a resume here. My dad, first of all, he was very old school and very old, but also a physician. Well, he'd be 96. He went to school with Mrs. Zimmerman. He would have called it a CV. Yeah, when he had doctors or nurses come to give their resume, he called it a CV, a curriculum vitae. It's Latin for resume. Yeah. Sir.
Wait, so the owner of the Timmerman was a girl? No,
Mrs.
not Miss Liz.
The founder of Timmerman
I
was.
thought it was a, okay, no offense, just, I thought it was a boy.
That's
Like,
right.
because
No, it was one of the reasons my entire family went here because my grandfather knew Mr. Timmerman from playing baseball. Mr. Timmerman was actually a very good minor league baseball player. And he also knew Mrs. Timmerman from kindergarten through 4th grade, where I think he pulled her pigtails a lot in elementary. Yeah, so they were great friends. But he knew that, I mean, he believed in, before I think it was popular, businesses being run and owned by females, and he wanted to support it. Plus, she was a dear friend. Yes.
your dad is not still working, right?
My dad is not still alive.
That's it. Oh.
Okay.
Well, that's it. If he's
Thank you, but I'm good.
He's 96.
He would be. Yeah, he
so
would
keep
be.
it going.
Hey, trivial.
Go
It's
for
when,
it.
just like when they were saying sorry, and I was like, no, it's okay, I'm good. Because it was trivial. It's been so long ago. It means it's just something minor. It's not important right now. Yeah, anything that's just ordinary or commonplace. It's just trivial. Now, that is your first page. Let me, yes, and let me hit done. and go to your second page because we always get 10 vocab words a week in case you're new or in case it's been so long that you have forgotten. All right, everyone knows this one. Number 9. It's a truce. You know it from a history book because it's about war and it's when you don't want to fight anymore. Let's call it a truce. Put up the white flag, as they say. But you may have called a truce in your everyday life with an argument. If you've ever had an argument with a friend and you're like, can we just stop arguing? Truce. You may have called a truce in a heated, like, you know, where we shouldn't be on our iPads over here. He's eventually going to have to call a truce in that video game he's playing. You might have to call a truce in a video game, right? It's like, dude, I'm not going to win. I'm so tired of playing. I got to go eat. Can we just call a truce? Yeah? Okay? The other one is vicious. It's a good adjective, and you already know it. You don't need this as a vocab word because you know it. Let me tell you where I'm going to get you on points. And you haven't made the mistake yet. You only learned from mistakes. So if you haven't made this mistake yet, let's learn from past mistakes, okay? People misspell it.
Vishy-yoshy.
Be careful of the spelling of vicious, okay? Everybody knows what it means at this age. But for some reason, everyone wants to add some crazy S in the middle.
Aww.
Or an SH, even better.
Oh no.
Shuss.
That's not good.
Okay. So, take it for what it's worth. It's an easy vocab word. Be careful that you don't misspell it. Because common mistake the past few years. All right, remember, I don't give homework.
Yes.
Trying to keep homework light. I'm hoping that actually you got grammar homework today instead of anything from me.
We did.
Sweet. So please go down to using context. You old schoolers, I don't know if you remember this, but we have 10 sentences right here, and only 6 are right. You new schoolers, hey, guess what? 10 of these sentences are up on the board and in your page. Only 6 of these sentences are good.
I'm scared now.
4 are trash. They'd like for you to circle the number of the sentences that make sense. Okay? Good? Now let me tell you though something about using context. And they don't really do it this time. They always give me one sentence that's not good, but I think maybe it could be. Because I think my imagination goes a little bit wild with a sentence where I could make that happen. That could work. I'll show you one up here that actually could work. That's wrong. All right? You want to take a minute and do this one? Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I know that you can't actually do it on there right
I
now.
have an example.
Because you're being gracious. No, we got to do this right now because we want to get to chapter 2 of Mr. Chips, please. This is not homework. It should be. It normally is. It's classwork.
So we're doing all
Yes.
right now? Since we're reading a book, can you work out the light?
No. I'll give y'all a few minutes on this one. Yeah.
Do I do this when I get home?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just pay attention to it now. Because I was really hoping he must be working really hard. Let me see where he is as far as literally where he is in the list of getting to us.
So we're just doing number 1?
Okay, I don't even see that he's working on that 6th grade. He might still be with 7th and 8th, which would make sense. We'll see. We'll see, okay?
Who, Mr. Chips?
No. Do this, Mr. Hurd, trying to hook my Emmy up. Remember, she was the one that was gracious enough to go on iPad for this until Mrs. Liz orders more books. Circle the sentence where the vocab word is used correctly. Yeah? And you should only have 6 circles.
Oh, just circle the word.
Yes, look.
Or not.
No, look at the directions. Now, I will say the directions are a little bit wordy. I like them more in your face. For each item, determine whether the bold-faced word from our pages 14 through 15 makes sense in the context of the sentence. Circle the item numbers next to the 6 sentences in which the words are used correctly.
Hey,
They've been looking for you.
Is this 6th grade, right?
This is 6, and this is my people.
Guys, I've only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 6th graders that's paid for a locker this year so far.
Yeah, me neither.
Okay, I'm just telling you, I'm not issuing lockers to you if you haven't paid. So you need to. Okay. Sonia. Okay. Because I'm running out of lockers.
Now this was on Mr. Bradham's.
Guys, we'll sort it out. If you pay, we'll make sure you get a locker. Okay?
Do you have Keller down?
Keller. Nope.
Okay.
Laura.
So, and she's gone right now. Kylie Barn down there. Okay, so he didn't.
He didn't turn anything in.
No. Bailey Frost. Hogan. Braylon Hogan. I know first names. I'm not great with last names right now, y'all. Hampton. Braylon. This must be Andre. Andrea, I'm sorry.
Oh.
Sorry, I almost went Spanish. Did you pay in cash? Yeah, okay. And Andrea, Leon.
I'm sorry.
Hi, boo-boo.
Can I give this to Braylon Hogan if he's in here?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so help me.
He
again
actually
here.
checked them off on here, if that's helpful.
Yeah, would be.
Sorry about
I
that.
don't think he needs to be turning it in.
I know. Hey, listen, you know you're next. Keep looking for the 6 sentences right now that make sense. Circle them. Yes, ma'am.
My mom didn't get any DSS forms.
Okay, all right, we'll be sending those out.
Those are online. I'm just trying to, I'm going to have it set up so they'll get theirs the first thing in the morning.
Did y'all hear that? Sound good, first thing?
Yes. Lockers and get you guys online.
So what I'll do
I
is...
can hand this in to Becky so
Thank
she
you
can
so
update
much.
us.
Yeah, thank you. I didn't know it was there.
I'm hoping, who has the other 6th grade?
Miss Herman.
Yeah, I don't, I'll ask her at the end of the day.
Okie doke.
We'll get you guys taken care of, okay? If you paid, you'll get a locker. Just, if you haven't paid, you got till the end of the week, okay, guys? Because the lockers are running out.
That's cool. Remember, I told you, that's fine. My own children did not get one. How many people are still working on using contacts? Still got a couple?
I'm sorry. I took
No
the
worries.
pencil, didn't I? Sorry for the interruption, guys. Trying to get
No,
you
that
straight.
they wanted information on that. That was a happy interruption. Come on, y'all. Got to do this. We got chapter 2.
Did he say in the morning?
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so I'll bring him. Miss Tracy, do you see the line this morning? It was after the task was due.
Actually, I didn't see it for very long because I was meeting with your math teacher, getting him some stuff. Okay, a few more minutes on this one. Yes, ma'am.
Because mine didn't have a name, it was just sent in a check.
What, did you give it to Mr. Bradham in the morning?
He put it in the envelope.
Okay, then actually, if it's might have been stuck in the bottom, it just went to Miss Becky, so she'll get it off.
Because my parents didn't label it.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I know you're officially mine, but I'm not in here to do that morning stuff with y'all because I'm running around with every place else. So, but I can at least find it in the afternoon.
You say that to everyone.
Yeah. You said it to me.
Yes, ma'am.
Earlier this morning,
Uh-huh.
Mr. Burnett gave out lunch orders, but there was yeah, so some of us didn't get some.
Some of you didn't get some. Okay, by the way, quick reminder, if you did get one, and I'll have to do this at the end, we're still trying to learn, okay? Please mark off Monday.
Got it.
Okay? Cool? All right, let me go over using context, please. Sound good?
Yes.
All right, 6 of these are great. Let me get myself on highlighter very quickly. Let me see how fat that highlighter is. That's not bad. There we go. Oh, you should have seen, though, earlier when we did this. All right, so animals, number 1, that are usually harmless can become vicious if they feel they are being threatened. Heck yeah, including this animal. If I feel threatened, I'm going to come at you, right? You probably would do the same. Okay, number 1 is good. So my little dot right there means I circled. Number 2, in the evening hours, the city's theater district is filled with bright lights and humdrum activity. No. Exciting. It's a city. It's not Columbia. It's at nighttime. We're out and about. Lights. Theater. So boring. No, come on. Number 3, the servants arranged themselves in a long single row and waited for the new owner of the estate to alight from his carriage so they could formally greet him. There we go, that incredibly old-fashioned word. We waited for him to get out of his carriage. That's probably how we would say it today.
That's so.
Okay. Could you imagine to make the morning carpool line even better? To ask little kids who take so long, they get out of a car like 80-year-old men. What if we started going, dude, could you please alight from your car a little faster? Get out of your car. You know? Right. 3 is great. We like 1. We like 3. Number 4, in addition to proofreading your resume yourself, we talked about this, you should ask someone else to read it over as well to make sure it's free of obvious errors. Yes, please. Thumbs up. We get so wrapped up in what we've written ourselves. This summer when we were writing so much for the teachers, for your parents, like that, I would print it off and say, Allison, read this. Miss Clark, by the way, but she's my best friend. So, Allison, read this. I'm so tired of looking at it. And she would proofread my stuff for me. I'd proofread her stuff for her. Works out well. I did like that one. I highlighted it. Number 5, the leader was celebrated for being a dynasty. Can I just stop right there and tell you that it's wrong without even reading the rest of it? The one leader was a dynasty. No, not going to happen, okay? Because of the short amount of time she ruled over the people. And then it just solidifies that that's just all wrong, okay? But we actually could have stopped at the very first part of the sentence, okay? Before what's actually called an adverb clause when it starts with because. That one, not highlighting. Oh, and here's what I was talking about in number 6. Don't just think you're a farmer with germinate. Ideas often germinate when you least expect them to. That one's great. Let me tell you, for people who are like this, you either you use notes a whole bunch on your iPhone when you get a good idea, or if you are Stephen King, who is so old school, still uses a typewriter. What? I'm sorry, wait, did you hear that?
Who's that?
Did you just hear that? That was the sound of my heart breaking.
Who is he?
A horror fiction writer. Stephen King, who has written a horror fiction book, and uses a typewriter to this day, has thousands upon thousands of Post-it notes. And he enjoys writing his ideas down that germinate in his mind and putting his Post-it notes all over his house.
Oh, we should post it over.
Oh, we actually do a Post-it note writing exercise later, a la Stephen King. Now I feel that we should do a Stephen King story. Whoever said he was a King.
One of those TV guys, like, isn't he the guy who created the movie It? No.
Stephen King wrote It. He created Pennywise. Gotcha. Yeah, you know. Oh, you're not scared. That was scared. I saw that.
I don't want to watch
Okay, 6 is great. Number 7, this bulldozer can interrogate that pile. I'm going to stop right there.
It's how you gonna interrogate a pile? That pile is like.
All right, however, I did tell you that they always give you one where I could argue that it could be right. Now, for real, this one's not right. You should not have circled it. But everybody, I know of some bulldozers that could interrogate a pile of earth.
Are you joking?
I'm not joking.
Then bulldozer.
But can we build it? Yes, we can. Bob the Builder.
Bob the Builder, yeah, we fix it. Bob the Builder, yes, we can.
Thank you very much. So, can I make that sentence work?
No. I mean, yes.
Officially, does that sentence work? No.
Yes,
Okay, no. Number 8, after more than 20 years of fighting, the feuding kingdoms grew weary and finally agreed to a truce.
Easily.
Like it. Yes. Yes. Number 9, the 2 plans for merging the film studios are basically the same. Any differences between them are trivial. Yes, tiny. Like, who cares? Okay, now, note please that we have found 6, but let's go ahead and figure out why 10 is trash. Well, I mean, it is. Because the organization's budget is tight, its managers will have to find ways to insinuate existing resources. No. Because insinuate, when you're trying to beat around the bush, as they say, when you're trying to suggest or not come right out and say it, you give the person a wink and a nod.
It's like, do you want that?
No. Okay? All right, so that should have been for homework. That is not for homework. And one of the things that y'all are going to have to remind me of this year is to please remind me to always erase my answers or I could really mess you up. Because once I hit done, which I am about to do when I can find done, there it is, my answers would go right on top of your answers, which would be fun for using context, but when you have to start writing the words in a blank, I would really mess you up. So in case I don't remember, I need to, just remind me, I do need to erase my answers. Okay, did I set up your Shelby reading? Because it would be so much nicer, 6 Sutherland reading. Yes, I did. Look, Destiny's already there.
Oh, look, she already posted
Yay. Huh?
it. You already posted it.
Yep. So I've already sent you, and I know you're not on it yet, Goodbye, Mr. Chips. Remember, listen to me, every single book I send to you, every single book, will be on Shelby. Can you go out and buy the book? Yes, but that's completely up to you. You will never be without a book in my class because it will be, well, except for today because your iPads are kind of useless. But you will almost never be without a book in my class.
Except for today.
Okay, right.
Where did you post it?
Are you Wi-Fi capable right now?
Yeah.
Okay, so hold up because I can't see. So I'm going to move right here into the Oompa Loompa chair.
Are we taller than when you sit all the way
Okay,
around?
no, that chair just went down so crazily. Am I still airplane?
Because it says Unit 1
Thank you. All right. If you are Wi-Fi capable,
I got it. I got some Wi-Fi.
please remember that Shelby is text sensitive. That means it wants to be capitalized.
Capitalized.
Your, can you see it? Is U, Q, K, N, T. And of course, all of this will be posted. U, Q, K, and T. Of course, all of this will be posted when we are officially on Wi-Fi.
I've got it.
Goodbye, Mr. Chips.
Oh,
I got it.
Oh,
Yes.
someone.
Yes.
I saw two Tasercam ones. The one with the profile picture is the one that I've logged out of.
Okay.
So the one that's just green.
Well, everything will be sent something then because I can't.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, no worries. I'm not worried about that. Okay, so let me go to goodbye, Mr. Chips.
We need to get to chapter 2.
We are working chapter 2, right?
Okay,
Everyone, no. You're gonna let me talk, please. Now, do you recall, because the other class had a problem with this, we are in England, the country of England.
England.
Now, we do know that Mr. Chips was born in the early 1800s. And when the book starts, he's not just old, he real old.
Like 96?
Probably, but we'll get more clues, okay? So, right now, we're getting to know him as what they called a master in England, old school way of saying teacher, okay? We're getting to know him. Chapter 2, we're going to get to know him a little bit better, but chapter 2 almost ends with a warning. So if you don't mind, it's very short. So as we don't waste time and we can keep up with the other class, let me start chapter 2, okay?
ma'am.
So, it says, across the road, behind a rampart, small hill of ancient elms, lay Brookfield. This is going to be his school of choice to talk about in this book. It was russet, kind of that orangey fall color, under its autumn mantle of creeper. It's one of those old buildings that has ivy kind of on it. Yeah. A group of 18th century buildings centered upon a quadrangle. Guys, his school, if the buildings were 18th century, those buildings were built in the 1700s. Remember, whenever you do a century, go down. 18th century means 1700s, okay?
And then 2000 means 19.
So, there were acres of playing fields beyond. Then came the small dependent village in the open fen country. Brookfield, as Weatherby had said, was an old foundation, established in the reign of Elizabeth. Okay, I know that those buildings he was talking about were built in the 1700s, but they're telling us that Brookfield, the school, was established in the reign of Elizabeth.
What does that mean?
That means Elizabeth I.
So the one that's living alive today?
The one that's alive today is Elizabeth II. No. Good question. Because that's what I was going to say next. Elizabeth I, 1500s, Shakespeare. I want you to think William Shakespeare plays. I want you to think 1500s. That's when Brookfield was first to school. Crazy.
Their school?
Yeah, and we thought Timmerman was good at like 60 something, right?
Yeah. Who cares about that?
Yeah, I mean, we got nothing on Brookfield. So it was established during the reign of Elizabeth in the 1500s as a grammar school. It might, with better luck, have become as famous as Harrow, which is still a famous school in England, sure.
Is Brookfield still a school?
No. And plus, this is fiction, remember, this is not true. Yes, ma'am? Oh, I'm sorry, I thought I saw another hand. Its luck, however, had not been so good. The school went up and down, dwindling almost to non-existence at one time, becoming almost illustrious at another. It was during one of those latter periods, in the reign of the first George. You know him.
George Washington.
George the First.
Oh.
Revolutionary War, the madness of King George.
George Washington? Oh.
No.
Oh, sorry. Oh my
This
God.
George tried to pick a fight with our George. Our George won.
Yay.
That's what we're saying. That's what we're saying. Thank you very much, George Washington.
Let's go, George.
Yes, ma'am.
Is this
Georgie King.
a realistic picture?
We'll get more into that. We got to find out more about him. So it's, the first George. That the main structure had been rebuilt and large additions made. Later after the Napoleonic Wars, you ever heard of Napoleon Bonaparte?
Wasn't he short?
In the 1800s. Yes, very good. He was short and he was somewhat French.
They named ice cream.
He became the Emperor of France, but he was Corsican. And trust me, when you are Corsican, you don't want to be called French. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
So was this made in the 1700s
Listen.
or the 1500s?
You guys,
For-
a lot of people
What school
have
building
to
was
go
it made in the
there
1700s?
today.
Brookfield, the school, was made in the 1500s. Those buildings they were talking about were built in the 1700s.
Okay, you
So
guys
it's just
need
one of
to
those schools that you keep building on to. Yeah, it's been around for hundreds of years.
So what's a quadrangle?
A quadrangle, think of a quad, 4 sides.
4 sides.
So
All
a
right, that's it.
quadrangle
Everybody
could
in
be
the
a
class, we're
square,
gonna do this one
it
at a
could be a
time. 'Cause I
rectangle.
can't have y'all.
Classic universities, old school,
Can't
are
Okay, we're to the end of our
rectangles.
Monday. I want to wish Trinity
Everybody
Preload,
in the class
Grace Waldrop,